KCAL News Los Angeles and the CBS News team. This is special live coverage of America Decides.
I just want the best for our country.
Now at 4, America Decides. People heading to the polls on this election day to cast their votes and shape history. And we've seen long lines at polling centers across Southern California, KCAL over UC Irvine right now, where we hear people have been waiting in line for up to 4 hours to cast a ballot. And the race for the White House, how voters are turning out in the battleground states that will ultimately decide our next president. And while the election is big news today, we have some other news to tell you. It is with heavy hearts that we join you today. Our beloved coworker, anchor Chauncy Glover, has died.
I love the array of news. I love the different cultures, and I love how the journalists embed themselves in these different areas and able to still tap into the community in this huge city and tell everyday stories about everyday people.
This unexpected loss has stunned our newsroom this afternoon and left us grieving the light loss to us and the Southern California community. Chauncy just celebrated his 1-year anniversary here at KCAL. He was full of passion for helping people and had an impact on everyone he met. And of course, I'm joined by Juan Fernandez and Pat as we mourn this loss and try to get through this.
This has been unbelievable, a very unexpected day for us here at KCAL. But Chauncy was a man of faith. And we can try to take some of that within our hearts to know he's at peace now with whatever. And of course, we're thinking about his wonderful family. He was so close to his parents. But whatever happened, and we don't know that just yet, we just know how we are feeling here. And on a day like today, to not have him sitting here at the desk is just a tremendous loss. But we want to share some of Chauncy's joy with you, if we can. He joined us just over a year ago, as Amy mentioned, but his impact was felt across Southern California.
Good evening, I'm Chauncy Glover, and today it is all about the kids and the toys. I am here with the CHP officers here for the Chips for Kids toy drive.
Chauncy Glover was more than just a local news anchor. He was a devoted community leader with the heart of doing what it takes to make our communities a better place to live.
So, Jelani, what made you start Black Men Hike?
Growing up in Akron, getting out in nature really wasn't a part of the culture I grew up in. You know, we started off with running canyon. I started to feel recharged, less anxiety, and it was something that I felt like benefited me so much that I wanted to share with my community.
So he did. Jelani launched Black Men Hike LA in 2020 with just a couple of friends, eager to get out of the house during the pandemic. And now the group is still growing, meeting on the first Saturday of each month at different trails all across Southern California.
I think every trail has a different experience.
Jelani says the stigma surrounding Black men and mental health is stomped here. It's a safe place to talk, heal, and hike.
And now this is a perfect segue to our newest member of the KCAL team, Chauncy Glover.
Chauncy joined KCAL News just over a year ago, bringing us inspiring stories, including one about 2 brothers from South LA who found redemption and a new life through letters in prison.
For 5 years, the letters and papers kept coming.
I'm happy today as I examine many of the accomplishments.
Alone in his cell, it dawned on David.
I never really bonded with my brother on an intellectual level as kids, so to hear him articulate himself in a way that kind of sounds like a scholar, I'm like, wow, he's educating himself.
You know, education is powerful. It's a liberation.
It gave me hope.
David started courses offered through the prison system. Lamai kept writing, ending every letter the same.
Can't stop, won't stop.
In April, 19 years after being locked up, David was released.
That's right, man.
You didn't even know what an email was?
No, my brother actually taught me how to set up an email, how to manage an email. He taught me a lot about how to use phones and anything I needed to know. He pretty much brought me up to speed.
In May, Lamai graduated from Cal State LA at the top of his class.
I got summa cum laude. It felt so good.
Lamai celebrated with his homeboy mentors and his 7-year-old son, David, out of jail, just in time to witness it all.
Chauncy's love for journalism began at a young age while growing up in the small town of Athens, Alabama.
My dad built me a little anchor desk when I was 5 years old, and every Sunday after church, I would do my, quote, newscast at the time. But I turned my hobby into a career. I did journalism in high school and went on to college to major in journalism and communications. I started my career in Columbus, Georgia, then on to Jacksonville, Florida. Did a stint in Detroit, 8 years in Houston, and then here I am in LA now.
Chauncy's passion for others went outside the newsroom with his foundation, the Chauncy Glover Project.
So blessed to be here in Los Angeles. I'm originally from Alabama, country boy. I just moved here after spending 8 years there in Houston, but it was in Detroit, a story I'll never forget. Breaking news, a young man had robbed a basketball coach, shot him. I watched that young man die on the streets of Detroit, and I was compelled to go back to that high school, and I started the Chauncy Glover Project a few months later, which is a hands-on nonprofit where we mentor young boys of color in the inner city. I am so proud. This has been my life's purpose and work, and to date we've sent more than 350 boys of color to college, and we've mentored more than 1,000, and I'm looking forward to possibly one day bringing it here to Los Angeles, because as I do the research and I talk to the folks out in the community, it is certainly needed.
There's a big need.
Chauncey was a bright light in our newsroom with his big smile and uplifting spirit.
You're the reason why I have to do so much cardio, because I love the sweet potato. I've talked about this. I love the sweet potato pie.
Chauncey's time with us was short, but his impact and effect on our hearts is everlasting.
Well, if you follow Chauncy's social media, you know he was always one to celebrate behind the scenes. Hello, everyone. I'm Pat Harvey, and this is the first time that all four of us have been together working on a project.
And boy, what a time we have had, and we can't wait for you to see it this weekend.
Although we're not sure if we want you to see all of it.
Definitely not the outtakes and commercial breaks, but you're going to enjoy this special.
That was a fun afternoon for us, just laughing and talking.
Oh, my God.
You know, Chauncy was only here for a year, but I felt like I really had spent so much time with him in such a short span of time, because he was just so caring and so personable and just came in with such a special light into our newsroom.
Chauncy, oh, wow, you're talking about, you know, we spent a lot of time together, and I just talked to him Friday. And he had bought a Dodgers hat for me in a plastic bag to get into the stadium. Thursday evening, and he was always good about that in terms of, Pat, what do you want for dinner? So I'll always have those memories, but I want to share more with our viewers right now about some of the things that Chauncy did and things that he really enjoyed. He was a huge part of our annual Taste of Soul celebration, co-anchoring the event with Jim Hill and me, and he could always be seen having a good time with the crowd, and he was definitely quick to introduce us to the best food vendors. He loved to eat. Now, this was the Cobbler King. He showed off how all of those desserts are made when he went to visit him. Take a look. Oh yeah, did we say he loved to dance?
Yes, he loved just the kids. He loved the kids, and I remember, the Chauncy Glover project where he mentored these young men. It wasn't so long ago that he went back there because one of the kids was having some troubles, and he says, I got to go back and I've got to meet with these boys, and they were his boys.
Yeah, he was very dedicated to that.
Yes.
Proud, his pride and joy.
And we're so used to, in the news business, we give news to our community all the time. A lot of it is not great news, but when it hits close to home, it really does hit so differently. He was just in the newsroom last Thursday. We had a potluck here. It was for Halloween. One of our assignment managers organized that, and he brought his famous lobster mac and cheese, and we were having a good time.
Good.
There's the last picture we have with him right there. He's
Halloween
on the left
night.
side of the screen there. He was smiling, and we broke off into smaller groups. We were all talking before the next newscast, and you can see the smiles on everybody's faces there.
And he always had a big one.
Oh, yeah.
And it's surreal. Coming in today, it was surreal when I received the phone call.
I love the array.
It's really just hard to still process, and we all grieve differently, and this is part of it.
Yeah.
This is when he first came here, the promo that we had put together for KCAL.
And he was
Can we turn that up,
here.
or is this a voiceover?
Encouraging and inspiring the next
go.
generation. We are merely servants of the community, keeping you informed with accurate information and sometimes having a little fun along the way.
Chauncy Glover, KCAL News.
You were mentioning his work with the Chauncy Glover project and helping young boys really to become men. And that was his foremost dream. That, I think, is what gave him the most joy. Besides, he loved the theater.
Yes.
Chauncy loved the theater. He loved going to plays and musicals, and we'd always compare notes, and sometimes, we on that scale of 1 to 10.
They weren't always the same.
It was interesting, yeah. We had, most of the time we were on the same mark when it came to, I really like that, and, well, I don't know, they have a little more work to do. But he enjoyed that. He liked to sing.
Yeah.
He liked to goad me into singing. He liked to have fun.
Yes.
He would love to joke. And anytime when we'd sit on this desk, he called me Auntie Pat. And I would say something, and he would turn around and just, so the audience wouldn't see him cracking up.
Yes.
And it didn't take a whole lot.
No.
But those are the things that I will certainly miss about him. And one more very, very important thing. He loved his family.
Yes, he did.
His mom especially.
Yes, he was very close with his parents, and they would come and visit often, and talking about his mother and celebrating his family every chance that he could. And a short time ago, Chauncy's family reached out saying, we, Sherry and Robert Glover, along with Chauncy's beloved family, are devastated by the unimaginable loss of our beloved Chauncy. He was more than a son and brother. He was a beacon of light in our lives and a true hero to his community. Chauncy's compassion and dedication to helping others, especially through the Chauncy Glover Project, changed countless lives and inspired so many young men to pursue their dreams. His talent, warmth, and vision left an imprint on everyone who knew him, and the world is dimmer without him. While we grieve this profound loss, we are comforted by the outpouring of love and memory shared by those who knew Chauncy as the passionate, gifted soul that he was. We kindly ask for privacy as we mourn and honor his incredible legacy. He was taken from us far too soon, but his impact will be felt forever. And of course, Chauncy Glover will be missed deeply by all of us here at KCAL.
A profound and long-lasting impact. Again, our hearts go out to his family, especially his mom and dad, because they were so extremely close and so very proud of him.
So proud.
As they should have been. And if he would have been here today, he would have been sitting right here. Well, coming up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
We'd be talking about the election results and going over other things that have happened in our lives. So, again, and I just want to say this too, when we talk about how many lives that he touched, we know about the young men in Houston, but I've had other news people from all over the globe contact me, from Atlanta, Florida, to Houston, of course, and New York, all sending condolences and their profound sadness. He will be missed.
The whirlwind campaign season finally coming to a close as it all comes down to this. Polls have started closing in eastern states, and in places like California, last-minute voters still have a chance to cast their ballots. The polls close here in California at 8 o'clock, and we are tracking all the major races, including the Senate, LA District Attorney, and LA City Council District 14. We begin with Jasmine Veal live at the LA County Registrar in Norwalk. Jasmine, how's it going out there?
Well, it's busy, and it's been busy all day, Amy, and voters still have 4 hours to get out to these vote centers and vote. Behind me, you can see a line, and this is what it's been all day. At one point, it actually wrapped around the building and stretched into the parking lot. Everyone here voting on a pretty long ballot with hundreds of races across LA County, and of course, the big one for president. And we found a lot of enthusiasm out here today.
Y'all cast our votes! It counts!
Many voters in LA County choosing to head to the polls to vote in person on Election Day.
It is a special day. It only happens once every 4 years.
Mother-daughter duo, Tina and Tennessee Case, say they have always gone together to vote and came to the LA County Registrar in Norwalk.
She's my mom. We always do. We come here together, and I think actually it was the very first election where Barack Obama was running for presidency. I took both my daughters into the poll.
Inside, poll workers clapped for those voting for the very first time, like Jaden Faustinos.
I wasn't able to last time because I was 17. You know, at the end of the day, we all just want the country to be better for everyone, no matter what. If someone's beliefs is different than mine, I know we all just want the best for our country.
Deborah Darnold waited in line Tuesday to cast her ballot.
I only vote in person every election.
Why?
Because I feel that I know that my vote is going to be counted.
The economy top of mind for many.
What my grandchildren have to go through and my children.
But also the conflicts overseas.
The big issue, I think, say my generation with Gen Z and millennials is the foreign affairs with Gaza and stuff.
These are some of the 5.7 million registered voters in LA County.
Thanks for voting anyway.
According to the registrar, over 1.6 million vote-by-mail ballots have been returned leading up to Election Day, and nearly 534,000 vote center voters.
Change must be needed, so you have to go and vote. And vote does count.
We did it, yeah.
Proud and patriotic as they make their voices heard.
I love my country, I always will love my country.
All right, those first results will be released 8:30 to 8:45 p.m., and those will be the vote-by-mail ballots cast before Election Day. Second results released at 8:45 to 9 p.m. with the vote center ballots cast before Election Day. The third results, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. You're going to see those even more of those vote-by-mail ballots that were cast before Election Day. And then you have the fourth round, the results of vote center ballots. That begins around 10. It continues until all ballots cast on Election Day are returned and processed. And let's bring it back out here live. As you can see, the Sheriff's Department is here. They will be taking those ballots either by patrol car or helicopter to the processing center in the city of Industry. Also important to note here, as I said, the voting center here in these vote centers, they will close at 8 p.m. But if you are in line, your vote will be counted. You can still vote if you are in line by 8 p.m. Reporting live here in Norwalk, Jasmine Veal, KCAL News.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. Now, this election, California voters are casting ballots for a new senator in the race for California's open Senate seat that was long held by the late Dianne Feinstein. We are covering both candidates tonight. We start with KCAL's Lori Perez live in the JW Marriott in downtown LA. Lori.
Well, Amy, in just a few hours, Adam Schiff and his supporters will gather here in this ballroom. They will come here for a watch party and also for what polling suggests will be a celebration of those results. From the jump, Schiff has led his opponent, Steve Garvey, in the polls. The 12-term congressman has been pushing his record as the reason he should be California's next U.S. senator. If you look at the polling, California's open U.S. Senate seat is Congressman Adam Schiff's for the taking. He holds a steady lead over Republican Steve Garvey, despite the former Dodgers' significant fundraising. Schiff's title might change. He says his priorities will not. At the top, helping Californians find affordable housing.
At the federal level, I want to dramatically expand the low-income housing tax credit to incentivize developers to build affordable housing. We also, ought to have a renter's tax credit.
As the state continues to be hit with wildfires, landslides, and extreme heat, Schiff says he's also focused on tackling climate change.
One of the biggest impacts of climate change is people can't get insured anymore. Their homeowners has gone up through the roof. They can't get insurance for their businesses. So I've got legislation that would help bring insurance costs down by helping the federal government provide a public reinsurance program.
He says one of the reasons he's running is to help get things past the finish line in the Senate, and he's the only candidate with the experience to do so.
I want to make sure that my kids have all the freedoms and more than what I inherited when I was young.
And this is the gathering for the state Democratic Party, so other candidates will be here. They are expecting the congressional candidates to also gather here for a party-wide watch party. We are live in downtown Los Angeles. I'm Lori Perez. Back to you.
All right, Lori, thank you. Now to Republican candidate Steve Garvey. The former Dodgers player is hoping to become the first Republican to win a Senate race in California since the 80s. Let's get to KCAL's Leslie Marin live in Rancho Mirage at Agua Caliente Casino. Leslie.
Yeah, Amy, you heard it there from Lori. Steve Garvey has trailed behind in the polls when it comes to Adam Schiff. But in the last few months, when it comes to fundraising, we know Steve Garvey was able to raise more money than Schiff. That's according to campaign financial reports. So at least financially, he was able to get some of that last-minute support. A lot of that support expected in this room. You can see, you can probably hear them doing a mic check right now, but you can see all the tables are set here. This event being held by a women's Republican group. We expect Garvey to make some brief remarks, we're told, after the polls close. But Amy, as you mentioned, the big question tonight, did he do enough campaigning to become the first Republican in more than 3 decades here in California to win a Senate seat?
It's time to get back in the game.
Veteran LA Dodger first baseman Steve Garvey built his legacy at Chavez Ravine, and now he's hoping he can do the same in his run for the U.S. Senate.
How I'm campaigning now is the Steve Garvey that used to take the field every day and give 100%.
It will be an uphill battle for Garvey, who is hoping to become the first Republican to win a Senate race in California since 1988. There are twice as many registered Democrats in California than Republicans.
How do we make up that ground? Independents, disenfranchised Democrats that the progressives have talked down, maybe the old Ronald Reagan Democrat who is...
Garvey hopes his stance on issues will attract voters.
Are streets safe? Probably not. Is inflation rampant over the last 4 years, double digits? What about the border? Obviously, we know what's happening there. It's still the existential crisis in America.
Garvey's fighting to increase funding for border security, including more money to finish building a border wall and expand detention space. When it comes to homelessness, he supports auditing California's spending on the crisis.
We're in reverse over the last 4 years, and we need to stop that and have good common sense voices and new leadership. Career politicians have failed us.
1, 2, 3, 4. And back out here live, we are told that Steve Garvey voted by mail 2 days after receiving his ballot. Again, he is expected to attend this watch party here, expected to make remarks sometime after polls close at 8 p.m. Then we're told he'll be headed to a private event where the public nor media will be allowed to attend. Reporting live, Leslie Marin, KCAL News.
All right, Leslie, thank you. And protecting voter rights across the country. What's being done to make sure voters feel safe on this election day? Plus, long lines at the polls. KCAL live overhead, and we will have an update on last-minute voters from Desmond Shaw when we come back.
Be prepared for now and what's next with Next Traffic on KCAL News Mornings.
And there are long lines at a voting center at UC Irvine as people wait patiently to cast their votes. Desmond Shaw is live in KCAL with more for us. Desmond.
Well, you know, Amy, ever since we really expanded the early voting and expanded the hours as well, I haven't seen too many long lines, but there is definitely one here on the campus of UC Irvine at the Student Center. Check this out as I widen out. We have heard reports of some people waiting as long as 4 hours in this line to vote. It extends back, geez, at least a quarter mile right here. So apparently the issue is that they did not have enough staffing or equipment, but we've heard now from the Orange County Registrar that they have tried to address this situation. They brought in extra staff as well as extra voting machines, so they're trying to untangle this line. Another big issue apparently is there are a lot of first-time voters that are being registered right here at the very last second, so that's kind of tying up this line as well. So the hope is, you can see, it looks like maybe some food or some snacks maybe being passed out there, or not entirely sure, but yeah, it's going to take these folks a long time to line. But remember, if you already lined up, even if it goes past 8 o'clock, you will be allowed to vote. Live at KCAL overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Amy, back to you now in the studio.
All right, thank you, Desmond. And you know, security is top of mind across the country on this election day, including right here in Southern California. Assignment editor Mike Rogers is at the desk. And Mike, what are local officials doing to make sure everyone is safe?
Yeah, Amy, a couple of different things here, right? They are making sure that the votes are secure when they're getting to the ballot centers, but there's really this balance of trying to make sure that everything is safe, but making sure the public can see, and that's why they're doing this. I want to come up here with Scott, and I want to show you. These are just some of the cameras, some of the many cameras I am monitoring here at the desk. These top two are the LA County Ballot Counting Center. This is in the City of Industry. You can see this camera on the left here is the extraction area. This one on the right is the signature verification area. This is one of several cameras that LA County has available to us to be able to see so that people can watch their ballots being counted in real time. I want Scott to come down here to the bottom left. That is in Riverside County, where Riverside in particular has upgraded their system significantly, spending tens of thousands of dollars on safety. And then on the right over here, this is the Orange County Registrar of Voters. These are the 3 counties in our areas that provide these live feeds. San Bernardino and Ventura County do not, but LA, Riverside, and Orange all allow us an inside glimpse. And as we look one more time here at the camera from Riverside, I want to point that out because this camera is new. We'll show you some video here from Riverside where we went to. They spent tens of thousands of dollars, nearly $70,000 on an upgraded system here, including this fencing, some good old-fashioned fencing to make sure that things are safe surrounding the election day. This metal detector is also new. This was something the Board of Supervisors voted on early this year, and I can tell you these upgrades just came really in the last couple of weeks leading up to election here. So on the wall there are some of the monitors. They're looking at the same cameras we are. The Registrar of Voters out there, the Registrar of Voters here in LA County, both said that it's very important to them that people can still see the process while being able to protect the ballot, right? Being able to protect your vote and making sure that it is being counted the way that you want it to. And this is again in this county of Riverside, where there's just some of them. Now, back in LA County, they've even created bulletproof windows on the glasses there, the LA County Registrar of Voters, the counting center in the City of Industry, which by the way is new. This is the first time it'll be used in a presidential election. They have LA County Sheriff's deputies there as well, using canines, using dogs to sniff through the mail there to make sure that there are no suspicious items that may be coming in. In addition, Amy, they even use helicopters to bring in the ballots because obviously LA County is such a large county geographically, right? So they take them from Lancaster. Even Catalina Island, believe it or not, is a part of LA County, and they've got to get those either by boat if the weather is not cooperating, or they'll bring them in by helicopter. They land them there in the City of Industry, where they then bring them into the processing center. So in addition to those live cameras that we have inside, we'll also have a crew on the ground in the City of Industry, and we'll be checking in with them throughout the night. Amy?
All right, Mike, thank you. Well, another major race tonight that's being closely watched across LA County. District Attorney, incumbent George Gascon taking on challenger Nathan Hochman. The outcome of this race could really offer a glimpse into where public opinion stands on criminal justice reform. KCAL News senior reporter Ross Palumbo covering this race and joins us live from downtown LA with just a few hours to go. Ross.
Just a few hours, Amy, and of course, this is the race that really affects everyone across the Southland almost immediately. Crime is a primary concern for everyone here in the Southland. This is the race for the LA County District Attorney, the person who will prosecute those criminals. Today, as there are just a few hours to go, Gascon spent the day mostly at home after voting by mail. Nathan Hochman out on the campaign trail at 7 o'clock in the morning, voting and taking a few questions. Both campaigns tell me tonight that it's really just going to come down to two main issues.
It's heartbreaking.
Shot 3 times in the chest.
In his final breaths, just fighting to stay alive.
And actor Johnny Walker's death, leaving behind a chorus of sobs.
You shot the wrong guy.
And screams. And stern accusations.
It doesn't need to be a pro-criminal city.
Especially after District Attorney George Gascon did not initially charge the suspects as gang members.
We will continue to evaluate the evidence.
Reducing the possible penalty.
It's just way more in favor of the criminals, which is why it's emboldened them to feel very more like, I can go ahead and do this.
That is lazy. That is inserting your political agenda over the facts and the law.
It is a prime example, former U.S. Attorney Nathan Hochman says, of why he's trying to take Gascon's job. Campaigning with dozens of ads and $2.5 million in donations.
Gascon refuses to file any gang enhancements. What he has done is embolden criminals.
And that message of Gascon being soft on crime from the beginning
on his first day
is what Hochman has brought to every corner of the county.
There are certain crimes he will not allow his prosecutors to prosecute.
Is that criticism accurate?
Well, that is inaccurate, right?
Gascon says he is now accurately detailing a course reversal.
My blood started to gush.
Our filing rate on hate crimes is actually higher than the entire state average.
But his reversal, critics say, only comes after backlash and a brutal rise in all crime.
You have hate crimes that are up double digit. Violent crime has been up every single year.
Fear is way up.
Well, let's stick with the reality first.
But crime is not way up.
In the overall county, homicides are actually up 8%.
Right, but what I'm telling you is that there are cities in LA County today, including LA, where homicides are down, right?
What do you need to do? What is your biggest criticism of him?
Right, this is a guy that was a Republican in 22.
Lost horribly.
What do you think of that criticism?
I've actually been a Democrat almost twice as long as he has.
Do you feel that you have the breakthrough with voters, that they understand you are more than just not Gascon?
Every voter that I'm able to get the message to, absolutely.
Gascon is hoping that his message to voters breaks through beyond any one crime scene, any one death, or any one prosecution, believing he delivered.
Congratulations
on what he promised 4 years ago to become LA's 43rd district attorney.
Thank you for being here. People can criticize him for 1,000 different things, but the one thing that they cannot say is George Gascon lied to me.
And we expect that George Gascon himself will have plenty to say once he arrives here at Democratic headquarters in downtown Los Angeles sometime around 7 o'clock tonight. As I said earlier, Hochman is already at his watch party, Amy. That's in Century City. We have a camera over there as well. Both campaigns are telling me they expect this to be a very quick result tonight. They think, Amy, that by the second or third vote drop, that we probably will have a winner. That should happen between 9 and 9:30, of course. We'll be here live all night long and bring you the very latest as it comes in.
All right, Ross Palumbo reporting live for us. Thank you. Well, there's more of our America Decides election coverage ahead. We're going to check in on some of the key local races. Here's Jeff Nguyen.
I'm Jeff Nguyen, live in Lincoln Heights, covering the race for LA Council District 14. The candidates here very different, but they do have something in common: fallout from audio recordings.
Galena Estrinos, weekdays, KCAL News Mornings. From KCAL News Los Angeles and the CBS News team, this is special live coverage of America Decides.
LA City Council member Kevin De Leon is running to keep his seat in Council District 14, and tonight he's up against first-time candidate and attorney Isabel Jurado. KCAL News reporter Jeff Nguyen is live in Lincoln Heights covering this race that's really been marred by controversy. Jeff?
Controversy, Amy, as well as contention. You know, during their debates, the candidates traded insults at one another. While they are very different, they do have one thing in common, which is fallout from controversial audio recordings. The race between current City Council member Kevin De Leon and his challenger, tenant rights lawyer Isabel Jurado, has been filled with personal attacks.
The people voted for me more than they voted for you.
And this race for many will always be defined by two audio recordings.
They shout like there were 250 when there's 100 of us.
De Leon caught in a racist recording about redistricting.
Yeah. What's the rap verse? Police.
And Jurado recorded at a town hall using an expletive while answering a question about LAPD funding.
My opponent believes in abolishing law enforcement and LAPD.
What do you make of the words that he's choosing to describe you?
You know, when I think about it, I'm like a true blue Democrat. I've been endorsed by the LA County Democratic Party. I've been endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America, but also the Stonewall Democrats.
The list also includes progressive City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Eunice Hernandez, who both voted against increasing the LAPD budget.
The LAPD has been funded more than it's ever been funded before, but people in the streets and in these neighborhoods do not feel safer.
And the other big issue here, addressing homelessness, De Leon says that he supports anti-camping laws, which regulate when people can sit or sleep in public spaces, while Jurado does not. We're live in Lincoln Heights. Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Proposition 36 would increase penalties for things like retail theft and some drug crimes. CBS California correspondent Julie Watts has been investigating the political fight around this ballot measure for months. And Julie, Prop 36 is a complicated initiative with several pieces. So take us through what each part will do. And let's start with Alexandra's Law.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of voters simply know that Prop 36 will increase penalties for some drug and theft crimes. But there are three specific primary changes if this passes today. And of course, it is widely believed that it will pass today. The first big change is Alexandra's Law, of course, named after Alexandra Capelouto, a Southern California college student who died of fentanyl poisoning after taking what she thought was a prescription pill. Alexandra's Law creates a warning for people convicted of hard drug crimes, things like fentanyl and heroin, that if they sell or even distribute those drugs again, and if someone dies, they could be charged with murder. What we still don't know, if Prop 36 passes, is if this part of the law will lead to more fentanyl murder charges, or frankly, ultimately, if it will even reduce fentanyl deaths.
And Julie, Prop 36 also creates a new felony for drug possession. Critics say it will fill up prisons. So explain how that would actually work.
Yeah, well, so to clarify, the Nonpartisan Legislative Analyst Office says that Prop 36 as a whole, including the retail theft component, could lead to, quote, a few thousand more people in prison. Now, for context, there are around 90,000 people in prison right now. But for drugs specifically, Prop 36, what it does, it creates a new treatment-mandated felony. So on a third conviction for possession of hard drugs, people will have to choose between treatment or up to 3 years in jail. If they complete the treatment, that charge is dismissed. On a fourth conviction, it's either treatment or 3 years in prison. What we still don't know, though, about this drug component is how California is going to provide treatment for all of these folks. Even supporters of Prop 36 acknowledge that there is a treatment shortage and there's no specific funding in this ballot measure.
Retail theft part of Prop 36 is what we hear most about. So how is this different than the retail theft bill package the governor just signed?
You know, that's a really good question. I think a lot of people are asking that question. The biggest difference is that Prop 36 creates what's called a felony wobbler for petty theft. Let me explain what that means. People can face up to 3 years in jail for their third theft conviction, 3 years in prison for their fourth. But it's a wobbler, meaning the DA or the court can then reduce that down to a misdemeanor if, say, you know, somebody is eligible for treatment or there may have been extenuating circumstances. So Prop 36 will allow for that wobbler. It also increases penalties for smash and grabs with damage or with 3 or more people. And then, like the governor's bill, one way they're the same is it also allows DAs to now aggregate or add up multiple thefts to get up to that $950 threshold. But here's how it's different. Because that $950 threshold was actually created by voters back in 2014, some legal experts say that only voters can change that language through another ballot measure like Prop 36. So it does the same thing, but some folks say they need Prop 36 to actually change it.
All right, Julie. Julie Watts coming to us live this evening, and we will continue to watch Prop 36.
All right, polls are closing across the country. Results are coming in the presidential election. I'm Tom Waite. I'll get you up to speed on those ballots that are coming back coming up.
And we are getting a look outside right now at Santa Monica. We're looking at clear skies and bracing for a bit of wind in the forecast. I'll have your full forecast when we come back.
It could be the most unprecedented presidential election in modern history. The fates of the candidates and issues are now in the hands of voters, and the results are starting to come in. KCAL News political reporter Tom Waite is here now with some of the results and a breakdown of the key states that we are really watching tonight, Tom.
That's right, Amy. And as you said, those results coming in, finally, after all of this time, we get some answers, right, where voters landed. So the polls are starting to close in some of the key battleground states across the country. We also have a few projections with very few surprises at this point. Let's take a look here. CBS News is projecting Kentucky will go for former President Trump, and in Vermont, Kamala Harris is the projected winner there. All right, polls in key battleground states are starting to close. Let me take you to our big board right now, and we're going to kind of walk you through exactly which states we're looking closely at. All right, so in the East, the big states we're watching the results come in, Georgia and North Carolina, 2 really important battleground states. And then in the Midwest, the blue wall, that is the wall that former President Trump is trying to crack. That includes Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Those are key states, especially Pennsylvania. All eyes are on that state tonight, and it may take a while for that to come through. Really quick, I'm going to take you over to this balance of power map over here. Congress, we're looking at this. All of the seats in the House up for re-election. The Senate pretty closely divided, 52 to 2. Democrats had 52 seats there. Republicans are looking to take the majority. We're going to be tracking all of that throughout the night, and of course, bring you all the results as they come in. Back to you.
Tom, thank you so much. And we did see lots of folks standing in line to vote. And fortunately, the weather was cooperating for Election Day. But the Santa Anas are coming back, right, Ev?
Absolutely. I mean, Amy, they are coming back with a vengeance as we head into late tonight and Thursday. We're expecting cloudy, cool conditions, a chance of rain maybe next week. But before that, it's going to be all about the Santa Anas and the fire weather. The dry weather will continue. It's calm for now, but I will tell you things will start to pick up. As we get a look at wind speeds at the moment, you'll see 29-mile-per-hour wind speeds for Lancaster, 24 for Palmdale, 16 for Victorville, 12 for Chino, and 13 for LAX. And as we get a look at your red flag warnings across Southern California, they're kicking in and staying with us as we head into Thursday. This is going to be tomorrow morning through Thursday afternoon. You'll see that right there. So we're expecting critical fire danger with wind gusts between 20 and 40 miles per hour, even 60, potentially up to 80 in some spots. And believe it or not, the San Gabriels could get gusts up to 100 miles per hour. As we look at your wind futurecast, you will see the winds continuing to come in tomorrow morning, really pushing through all of Southern California throughout the afternoon. And by tomorrow night, still quite windy as we head into your Thursday. We're going to take a closer look at your forecast. Of course, the rest of your futurecast coming up in just a little bit. But I do want to show you your next weather 7-day forecast where we're expecting dry, warm, windy conditions and a chance of rain come Monday. By Tuesday, we are mostly sunny at 71. As we look at the next 7 days for the valleys, you'll see 70s and 80s Friday and Saturday, 80s through Sunday with a chance of showers Monday for Veterans Day potentially, but drier by Tuesday. Back to you.
All right, Ev, thank you. And there is more news ahead at 5 on CBS Los Angeles Channel 2. At the top of the hour, KCAL is your election headquarters, from the race for the White House and control of Congress to propositions and city leadership. There are races and issues up and down the ballot that will directly impact your life, and we have it all covered for you. And remembering Fernando Valenzuela, the memorial plan for the late Dodgers legend. All that and much more ahead on KCAL News at 5. Well, a tasty proposition. One restaurant serving up much more than just food this election day. How its menu is uniting both sides of the ticket.
The J.D. Vance Country Fried Steak.
Okay. This is huge.
Sounds like him.
Tim Waltz's breakfast sandwich.
Biden's boozy blackberry lemonade.
Well, Election Day humor being served up at a Richmond, Virginia restaurant. As you just heard, their food specials are based off the name of the candidates running for the White House. And there was even a pumpkin curry soup called Unity Soup. Well, let's hope we can all unite. Thanks so much for watching KCAL News at 4. Our election night continues in just moments with KCAL News at 5 right here on Channel 9.